Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast, brought to you by the Healing Institute. I'm Parmelia Parham. I'm the founder and the CEO of the Healing Institute. We are an online worldwide hub of holistic practitioners, and we are out to make a big difference in the world when it comes to health and healing. We want to give people hope. We want people to know that there are ways that they can be well and stay well on their health journey, because we're all on a health journey, and we want to make it a proactive one versus a reactive one. So each week on Heal the World Show podcast, I invite a guest co-host to come and talk about their area of expertise. And I'm delighted today to have one of our very new practitioners on the Healing Institute, Reverend Dr. Kimberly Van Duken. I think I got that I got that pronunciation right. But before we dive into that, I wanted to let people know, they might wonder why, if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, you might wonder why I created the Healing Institute. And I did for a couple of reasons. One is because I'm really passionate about educating people around how to be well, around health and healing. And certainly from a holistic point of view, because I've been using holistic practices for well over 30 years. And it's done me very, very well. I'm not on any medication. I don't have to, I hardly even see a doctor. Well, I'm in Canada and we don't have doctors. I shouldn't say that blanketly, because we do have doctors, but we have a shortage of doctors. And so I wanted to let people know what my why is. And my why is because we had a tragedy in our family a few years ago where my mom passed away at a very young age. She was only 61. And it was due to a complication because of a medicine that she had taken for over 20 years. Now, we never knew that taking this medication for 20 years was going to compromise her kidneys. But in fact, that's what happened. So she passed away on December 15th, right before Christmas. I was 5 months pregnant with my son, my first child. And what's so tragic about not only the fact that she died young, but also that my children didn't get to meet their grandmother. And I really don't want that to happen for any other families. So that is my why as to why I created the Healing Institute, just so that we can give people hope and we can give people information about what's available. And of course, that was a number of years ago that happened. And we have way more information now, and certainly a lot of the new science that's telling us how our gut health and our brain health are correlated, how our nervous system works. We have way more information now that we're accessible to than we ever have had. So, one of my values is always knowing, and I always recommend people to be curious, ask questions, make sure you know if you're on a medication, what the side effects are, and even from a long-term standpoint. And I know, we're not here to say A or nay about medications. It's all up to the individual. The other thing I want to express is that we actually see the Healing Institute as the bridge between the allopathic that we've had for that medical model we've had for the last 50 years or more, and the holistic. So I see us as a bridge to bringing those two together, because we need to work in harmony for sure. So yes, that brings me then to introduce our guest co-host today. Now, interestingly, this is our 80th podcast. We've been doing this for a little over a year and a half. And it's February. I always call it the love month. I love February. And our theme for February is, I'm just trying to remember what I put down there. Seeking love in all relationships. Seeing love in all relationships. That's our theme for February. And so our topic today with Dr. Reverend Kimmy is to talk about our spirit, our love relationship with spirit for February. So welcome. So wonderful to have you
Oh,
here.
yes, I'm so glad to be back here.
Yes. So tell us a little bit, tell people a little bit about you and your background, and then we'll dive into that topic.
Okay, well, my background, I have a doctorate in metaphysics, which was part of my journey, that and, mindfulness and getting certified in that. And then with the energy healing, it found me more than I found it. And I, at that point, was digging into any and every bit of information I could get, be it a monk on YouTube or a class somewhere else about how to heal the body. And it also has helped me a lot with blood pressure, lots of things that we don't need necessarily medicine for can be done a lot with herbs and energy
So
to
true.
repair,
Mhm.
and so my personal journey, I have a little bit of nerve problems, um, from working, cubicle elbow, all these things. And it allows me to tap into universal energy and make myself feel better, make myself healthy, and keep myself healthy.
Yes.
So my passion is because I love talking about and educating people as well, but I also like to, like I was saying earlier, get my hands dirty. I want to help people realize their own healing potential because
Mm.
as healers, we know we're not the person healing. We are a conduit.
Yes,
And we are
absolutely.
allowing, right? We're allowing spirit to come through us.
Hmm.
And we're facilitating healing in your body because you believe you've got the right mindset and you're allowing that healing to take place. And with that mindset and everything, you are healing yourself.
Absolutely, which is so profound because it's not something we're taught as we grow up. We're not
Right.
taught that our bodies are able to heal themselves. We now have that new what I call the new science. It's been around forever, but it's now coming into mainstream society so people are able to know about it. And
Mhm.
other people, people that have been on their own healing journey that are now writing books and talking about how they've been able to utilize, as you say, your own energy and in relationship to spirit, and make ourselves as healthy as possible.
Mhm.
It's I find it just really exciting that we're in this time right now
Yes.
that information is available because we've always, at least I shouldn't say make a blanket statement like I seem to be doing today, but the allopathic way that we've grown up with was that you took your power to somebody else. You took your power to a doctor because they were more educated, they knew more than you, and not to take any of that away from them because obviously, what, 7 or 8 years you have to study to be a doctor,
Right.
but it was always looking at symptoms. What was the symptom? Okay, you have a headache, or you have an ache or some kind of discomfort in your back from a physical point of view, or you're feeling unhappy, or there's some consequences of whatever you've done has now made you feel depressed. Those are just symptoms. And so I truly believe the reason that our allopathic model is not working anymore is because that's all we knew about was to just deal with those symptoms, not to we weren't dealing with the root cause. And that's what's so important. And that's what I want people to know is yourself and all of our practitioners that are on the website. We get to what the root cause is. We look at what the symptom is, and then we start to investigate with the client, what is the root cause? What's causing this? Because it's not gone out of nowhere, that it didn't just show up. So
Mhm.
that I love that that's what you do. And also bringing in spirit and looking at that kind of relationship that we have with the divine, because we are divine beings. That's why we're here.
Right. A lot of the medicine that we've been privy to, that in Western medicine,
Mhm.
basically, is because it, like you had mentioned, power, right? We are told to give our power to so many different people, the government, our doctor, you know, anything. And it's really part of the problem, I see.
I agree.
When we start to understand our own inner divinity, our own inherent power. When I say inherent, I mean inherent, that belongs to you. Okay. When we understand that, different things start clicking, and you understand that you are a powerful being, you are a creator, you're co-creating with the universe every single day, whether you know it or not. And with that understanding, you start to understand how you're connected to everything. And
Yeah.
that connection is key to knowing that you can heal yourself, in my view.
Yeah, so true. I do totally agree with you. And, I believe as well, we're more and more people are starting to tune into who they are,
Right.
and starting to look inward and starting to look for answers from the divine, from spirit, and also from themselves. Like, who am I really? I
Right.
remember, I was, my children were little. I was a wife. I was a mother. I thought that was my purpose. That was my purpose, to be a good wife, be a good mother. And then I read a book one day about my purpose, which was totally not just those two things, but it was actually asking me, the book itself was saying, like, inside you, who are you, and why are you here? And those were questions that I had never had posed to me before. But the book was a big wake up call, for me to start to look at, okay, well, what other reasons am I here? Not just to be, a good wife and a good mother. And then you start to, I believe, really start to uh, be more introspective about, okay, well, who am I really, and why am I here, and what can I serve? Like, am I here to serve? That came out of that. Like, I was like, I'm here to serve. I'm here to certainly help make the world a better place as much as I can. And then when you're in service, and just so everybody knows, our motto with the Healing Institute is service with love. Um, when you're in service, you're really, really just connecting with all the other beings that have the same divinity and the same spiritual connection, and it's an awakening. I think it certainly
Mhm.
woke me up
Mhm.
and made me really think differently, not quite so not so, I don't want to use the word selfish, because I wasn't, but more, not only just about me. It wasn't just about me, about self. It was about what else can I do for others.
Mhm.
So I'm sure with your studying, you found that as well.
Well, and not even just studying. I think when I was younger, I loved my mother put me in a lot of different situations where I was able to really show my light. But as you
Mhm.
get younger, older rather, that little, it doesn't dim, but you kind of put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
But I always had this service type thing.
Mhm.
I've done customer service. I've done this type of service. I've helped. I'm always the friend that everyone calls, but you don't really put two and two together. And when you start on your journey, on your path, and you start asking yourself these questions and start just sitting with yourself, really, just in meditation, in quiet contemplation, you start to understand who you are, and things come to you because you know everything you need to know. You just have to listen. So when you
Yes.
start listening to your inner self, your inner deity, your higher self,
Mhm.
things, little pieces of the puzzle start fitting together. Like, why was I wanting to be in service? Well, because, and then this has an answer. Everything has an answer. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing that a lot of people are really being authentic now. And you
Mhm.
can tell that lots of things that people are fake or phony. No one even paying attention anymore. They're
No.
just not. It's like, you're not who you really are, so I don't want to listen to you because you're
It's
not
like,
showing me your true self.
yeah, I don't have the patience to be
Exactly. Like,
associated
what's
with this.
going on? Right.
I have many deep, meaningful friends and acquaintances and conversations, and I'm not in the. I'm just don't have the patience to be having a superficial conversation. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what you said something about, that reminded me I guess I've been in service a long time, because
Mm.
one of the things you said about how as you were young and things were, was showing up for you. I remember I was always the person that my friends came to for advice and guidance.
See?
I'm not sure. And I remember being on back those days, we just had a telephone, one
Oh
telephone
yeah. Yeah. Speak the
for the
code
whole
of the
house.
room.
And my mother always complaining that I was always on the phone. And I'm like, well, my friends need me.
Mhm.
So, that's our gifts, I believe. Certainly, I often say what we got in trouble for as children is our gifts that we have. So,
That's so
obviously I
true.
was in trouble for being on the phone too much. But
Talking.
yeah, I don't think that my mother really needed to use the phone. She just thought I was on the phone way too long.
Mhm.
And also I was not, s- criticized for being too sensitive and asking too many questions. Well, now that, being sensitive, that certainly has led me into doing the work that I do with holistic healing and asking questions. I believe that is like almost the number one thing. We need to be curious. We need to be asking questions. I truly believe the reason my mother fell ill was because she didn't ask enough questions. So she didn't know the side effects of this medication that she was taking, or that it was going to be detrimental to her health by taking it for a long period of time.
Mhm.
So I always encourage people to ask questions. Always ask questions, because we need to know that. And you need to know for you how the answer might come for you might be different. I should say, what the answer comes for me might be different from the answer that comes for you,
Exactly.
right?
Hmm.
So, and that's where I believe what you said earlier, about getting to know who we really are, truly who we really are, and our divinity, and how spirit works through us, and how we work with spirit, because we're
Right.
co-creators.
Right.
And I oftentimes think what I call mainstream society, that still hasn't woken up yet, or they're in the process of waking up, don't realize that. They don't realize they're co-creators. So then they feel like victims,
Right.
and because something's happening to them. One of the things that I learned many years ago when I was studying with my energy teacher, I studied with her for 8 years, was that whatever comes to me, I attracted it. And
Mhm.
that was very freeing,
Yep.
because all of a sudden there's nobody to blame. So of course, all the good stuff is great, right? But I looked at any of the sort of not so good stuff that was happening was my lesson that I needed to learn. I needed to learn a lesson from this. And really, I wouldn't be doing the work I'm doing now if over 20 years ago I hadn't gone through that process and I hadn't been in a really dark, um, unjoyful spot. And now I'm, studying with her. I learned all about that. I learned all about vibration and energy, and how we work in the world. Um, and that made a huge difference. Interestingly enough, she predicted I was going to be doing something like this, and I'm like,
I
wow.
feel like I got a crash course in in energy and vibration, because when I was younger, I had gifts, but I turned them off
Mm,
immediately. I have audio claire. I heard that when I was like 12 or so, and I was like, yeah, I don't, yeah, no, no, we're not crazy. We're not gonna, so I always had these little too
mm,
sensitive things, all of this. And then you start your process of really digging deeper, and then things start clicking, things start turning on, and I'm like, whoa, why do I feel everybody like really bad? Like, I always was the empathetic friend,
mm.
but it wasn't a physical sensation where I'm like, oh God, I feel everybody. Like, literally feel you. So we all have our own journeys, we all have our own paths, and that's part of the reason why I do the coaching, like, that I like
Mm,
doing, because it's really a matter, like, part of my whole mission here is to give people the tools they need to
mm.
do
Absolutely.
whatever they need, You may need to just be able to learn how to sit with yourself and dig and ask the right questions. Or you may need, a little bit of an ache and a pain,
Yes,
something
for your
facilitated
body.
that way.
Yeah.
Right. But those things are connected. And that's what
Yes.
I always say, like, you may schedule an energy session with me, and that might bring some stuff. That means you might need another session for something else, because energy sits in the body in different ways. And if you've got blockages, that's where
Yes.
pain comes from. That's where um disease can fester. Now, I'm not saying anything against, regular medicine. That those things work in cahoots sometimes
Yes.
very beautifully.
Mhm.
But you need to be able to understand that your body can heal and can facilitate and even make it even heal faster once you're, in tuned better.
Well, and our bodies are such amazing, amazing vehicles. They will tell us. So
Yes.
if we're not taking the time that we should be taking, if we're not calming our autonomic nervous system for whatever reason,
Mhm.
um, that our bodies are gonna, if we're not listening to our bodies, they're gonna, they're just gonna ramp up the message.
Right.
So that's when the discomfort and the pain and the aches show up, and the dis-ease. And I think that is, what I love about what we all do at the Healing Institute is by finding that root cause of what's going on with the client, we're able to get to what really the client really needs in the healing process before it gets amplified. Yeah, for sure. So, tell us, do you have maybe an example of a client that you've worked with, and how working with you has, just an outcome that, if you have one that doesn't, that you can tell people just so they get an
Well,
idea.
the quickest one, like, not to be, but like the one that I think hit me the hardest, because it was one of my first clients. That's why I think
Mhm.
it sticks with me. It was just simply some people, they haven't had any energy work done. They know
Mhm.
how energy work works, but they put it off. So she at first had got a gift certificate from me, because
Mm.
I'm in a choir. And so we do these little baskets. And I was like, here, just, so it was a free session, but she loved it. And it was because she had all these aches and pains that didn't even tell me about, but I was
Mhm.
able to sense in her body where they were. And so it was kind of like this attunement. And then also, I think it was an elbow and a knee type of situation where it would just feel cold to me. And I'm like, there's, there's just nothing moving. What's happening? And then people just start telling me, oh, blah, blah, stuff. And then, she, after that, she, would see me, and it would clear up. And so it's a quick one, but I think the reason why that stuck with me was one of my first like in-person sessions when I was
Mhm.
just starting. And I was like, yeah,
Get all
I can
excited. Yeah.
see, right. Because, doing work on yourself or your friends at that point, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you're actually able to see the results and you're
Mhm.
like, so you feel better? I really did that? Yeah. Go team. When it comes to
Yes,
the,
which is a very good point, because the
oh,
work that we do in energy, it's a team. It's
yes,
not just us.
exactly.
I
Right.
have some of my clients said, "Oh, you healed this or you healed that." And I'm like, "No, actually, I didn't. It was you, and I've helped facilitate it. We
Mm.
were a team, so I'm glad to
Right. That's
raise
true.
that.
Yeah, go team for real.
Go
But yeah,
team."
and I have one friend who I see her all the time because she just has chronic pain. So those are things that a lot of people go to, like I have chronic pains. But because I know that I have them and I'm able to sit with myself, even sometimes it's even for us who know all of that, I
Mhm.
still have to make time to
Yes.
sit down and go, okay, let's see where I feel my disease, what's bothering me. Because just because we are healers doesn't mean that we're 100% of the time.
No,
Right.
no, we have to still tune into ourselves.
Right. So
Yeah.
when it comes to chronic pain, I helped her with that. Sometimes she'll just say, I have something, and I don't even charge her. I'm just like, okay, let's help you out a little bit, because
Mhm.
I know that how that sits in your body, chronic pain. And the thing about chronic pain is, even though, you know energy work is key. Certain things, like I can't unpinch a nerve, but I can relax and get the energy flow better
Yeah.
in that area, for
Yes.
example.
Yeah.
So it really is a matter of just believing,
Mhm.
understanding that you are an energetic being, and really everything is about vibration
Sure.
and frequencies. Um, Negative frequencies harm you, positive frequencies like the frequency of love, which is
Yes.
where all of this comes from, heals you, you know?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that because um, we haven't been taught that we're energetic frequency beings. We've been
Mhm.
taught this is the physical body and this is all there is. And it's just, again, in the last, I would say maybe 5 to 10 years, where more and more people are writing their books and coming and letting people know that no, actually, we're all energetic. We all have energy. There's actually a vibratory grid that is throughout the whole world. So whenever you meet somebody who could be in another country, which we can do that a lot now that we have Zoom,
Mhm.
you might think, oh, wow, I'm really connected to them. Well, yes, you are,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
we're all energetically connected. But that's always good to know when you were mentioning earlier about that vibration. When you have that vibration, you get either a negative or you can get a positive vibration. It's
Mhm.
always good to be aware of that negative vibration. So why is that coming up? Why is that showing? Could be just that your energy and the other person's energy just are not congruent, but it's always good to be aware of that. So,
Mhm.
maybe that's not a person you want to become best buddies with.
Right. Exactly. And I know I touched on the love frequency because I love, like, it's a love month, but I
Yeah.
love love, right? And who doesn't love love, right?
Who doesn't?
Right,
Yes.
who doesn't? If you don't, I don't know what something's wrong with you. But love isn't just an emotion; it's that frequency that and it helps align us with our own divinity
Yes.
and with source consciousness, however you want to label that.
Right.
But that power, that unconditional love, it transcends personal relationships. It's really about self-love too, because if you don't love yourself, then where's that relationship at? Because we're all part of that. We're all little streams of light from source riding around our custom bodies, however we've got it decked out that day, right? And we're out here and we're riding around in these bodies and living life and doing these lessons and loving everything. And it's all about connection. So if you are uh, being authentic, understand who you are beyond this, we are all multidimensional. Let me just say that. Make sure we're all multidimensional. So once we are in tune with that, we're feeling into that unity consciousness, that unity that we all have with the earth, with each other. And yeah, not everyone's going to vibe with you, but those who do vibe with you are really vibing with you. They could be from the same oversoul, who knows, right? They're going to be vibing with you.
Well, I love that you mentioned that about self-love, because that is so very important for us to have that self-love. To embrace that we have, we need that we love ourselves, that we care about ourselves. Really, I believe is the first step to then being able to love and care about other people. And again, unconditional love. I'm so glad that you raised that, because Dr. David R. Hawkins has his map of consciousness, which is it's a level, different levels of consciousness and positive vibration, and love is way at the top.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
that will tell you for sure that why love is so important. Yes, beautiful. Well, we have talked for, I think, our whole 30 minutes. So this has just been delightful.
Yeah,
And again, thank you so much,
thank
Reverend
you.
Dr. Kimmy, for being part of first of all, being part of the Healing Institute, coming on today to the podcast and talking about our relationship, our love relationship with spirit. So yes, delighted to have you here. And we will put in the comments when I repost this, how to connect with Reverend Dr. Kimmy. she has a link takes you to her complimentary information session on on our Healing Institute website. And also, I believe we have your website as well,
Mhm.
reverend.drkimmy.com. So thank you again so much. We
Thank
just want
you.
people to, you're so welcome. Yes. So really, we have a vision to create a community of health experts, practitioners, customizing their treatments for exactly what you need. So we encourage you to come to the website, find the practitioners, have that complimentary session with them so you can talk to them more in depth as to what it is that you would like to work on. And I mentioned this earlier, but I want people to know that our motto is service with love. And we have a big ask. We would love for you to let people know about this podcast, let people know about the Healing Institute. Send this off to, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then please send this off to your family, your friends, your community. Let people know we're here for them. We're here to help them on their healing journey.
Yes.
So thank you
However
again.
that looks.
However that looks, yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. So thank you, and we will see you next week on Heal the World Show podcast.